order. We're going to have a pledge of allegiance, and Cale Martin is going to start us off with that.
All right, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Councilman. Tonight's meeting is a work meeting. We won't be voting. We don't have anything projecting into the crowd, so
it's being recorded. That's what these are for. You can move your chairs closer.
so it's a work meeting. We won't be voting on anything tonight. We'll just be discussing things and moving things to our next business meeting. And we'll be reporting a little bit tonight. So we'll just dive right in. We'll do a roll call. Terry Minor.
Here.
Craig
Smith.
Craig Smith. Jess Bird is here. Cale Martin.
Here.
Scott Durbay
Is here.
and Corey Warnick is volunteering his time to be our interim recorder.
You're such a good son.
Once in a while. All right, let's dive right into our discussion items. And I'm gonna let Cale lead this one. And this is council member remote attendance. How are we gonna deal with if someone is out of town and we're having a meeting?
Yeah, I think this is a good topic to talk about. In the event emergency, something happens where one of the councilmen can't attend a scheduled meeting. I think we should definitely discuss this so we know what to do in case of this event.
You have a conflict next week?
Yes, Thursday I've got to fly to Las Vegas. So,
Okay.
if we have a meeting Thursday, I can attend online. If not, I can figure something out.
Are you saying going to the rodeo is more important than being there?
Is that where
That's
you're
it.
going?
I think that's what I just heard.
Is that where you're going?
Yeah, I'm going down to the
National finals.
but I can adjust. I can find another flight if I have to.
So can we not hold?
Your phone it in.
Can we not hold a meeting without Cale?
Yes,
If you have a quorum.
three of us, we can hold a meeting.
But if he wants to
Log in.
Are we
on
going to
Skype or
allow a remote council member to participate in the meeting?
I can't see a scenario where we wouldn't. To be right honest with you, I think it makes good policy and good sense to allow,
Is there any precedent for it? Does the county do it?
yes. The county does. The county allows it. It happens on planning and zoning a lot. And there's times when, for one reason or another, we're just not gonna be here. The week I'm in Lake Powell, I won't be zooming in. I won't be here because I don't have any service down there. That's one of the great things about it.
Yep.
But yeah, there's wide precedent set to allow people to zoom in, and I think we should certainly allow it. I don't know if we need to make a resolution to allow it or not, but
It's just common sense.
I think we should certainly allow remote participation.
What kind of equipment does that take?
You could do it simply with a phone, just a cell phone or a laptop.
And so just like the Zoom link that we had last week, where people could call in and talk over the computer, council people can be in the meeting through Zoom.
You have that app on, for example, if I had a laptop, you have to have an app on that laptop to do it.
You'll have your Google Meet app. Yep. And you've already got a Google account with the city.
He's probably still got a computer with floppy disks.
Can you give me one of those? I actually do have one of those.
You still have one of those?
Yes, I do. I do all my billing on that computer.
That's the only reason I said it, because I got one too.
Okay, well, I don't see any reason to vote on that. If everybody's in agreement, we'll move on. Okay. On to committee assignments, report and discussion. Item letter A is roads, and that is Drew Bay and Minor. Who wants to
Terry,
lead us on that?
Terry knows more than I do.
Okay, well, I don't have a lot. It's just that I have a meeting set up Monday morning at the Tula County Roads Office to talk over. I gave him a copy of what was in the feasibility study, and he was gonna go over it to see what changes and corrections need to be made. And then I'll have more information in the next meeting.
I would suggest if we could have them break down services to snow removal and the other road maintenance, the summer, like the mowing, and maybe it's better to have it all together. Maybe it's better to piecemeal it a little bit, but let's open it up and look at options.
I just don't want disruption in services.
We can't have that.
Got all that, Mr. Recorder? Okay. Any other comments?
So Terry and I thought that the first option ought to be to try and get the county to just keep doing what they're doing before we go out and see who else we could possibly hire. That would be the seamless way to do it. So that's why we're approaching that first.
Okay. We'll look forward to that report. We ready to move on?
I think so.
Okay. Item letter B, police. That is Craig Smith and Dr. Bay.
I'll take this.
Craig knows this.
So I have been in contact with Grantsville City and talked with them. I have talked with Tooele City. I've talked more with the county sheriff than anybody. And while he's not thrilled about the idea, he's willing to help us. We need to be perfectly clear here that we are in contract negotiations with the sheriff. And no numbers have been set, largely because we don't know what his expenses even are. And the county auditor hasn't had a chance to come up with those numbers yet. So like I say, I think he's been more than willing to help us and work with us and come up with a good number that will benefit both sides, but he can't lose money and he has to cover his expenses and administrative fees. And anything we do will have to be a contract approved by the county council. They approve all contracts. So we still have a ways to go. Likely I would think we'll probably go with the sheriff. That would be the most seamless and probably give us the best service. But we're still looking at options and negotiating contracts.
And Craig and I have talked about this, and if we could just have the sheriff's department just keep doing what they're doing, that's gonna be the best option, we feel like, rather than even if someone as close as Grantsville, even if we drag them over here, they're not familiar. There's not gonna be a seamless transition unless we use the sheriff's department.
And there's a lot of people will say, well, how many officers will be dedicated to Erda? And the answer is no one in the county has dedicated officers to them right now. It's a on-demand kind of thing. There's times when there's only 2 or 3 officers to cover the whole county. And if there's a problem, a wreck, or a violent something, all 3 officers will be right there. It doesn't matter if it's Rush Valley or Stansbury Park or where it is. It's a very much on the need. So in our discussions, and we both agree that these discussions should be, or service should be at a level or expected to be at the same level as we currently get. And I think we get great service in Erda from the sheriff's department currently. So
Any other comments? Erda Police? Okay, moving on. Item C, ordinance adoption. This is Smith and Martin.
Get started, Gil.
So me and Craig have been looking at, the county codes as well as, codes from towns that, are a lot like Erda. I've been looking at codes, in Cache Valley. There's a lot of towns that I think are very similar to Erda. I've been working on the articles of incorporation the most over the last little bit, so I've kind of not had a lot of time to look into this. We've been receiving a lot of emails on this, on a lot of different sites. So this is definitely something that we need to continue discussion on and continue to research.
Yeah, and it's not a small job. I don't know exactly how many pages. Every but city, or Twilla County, it's all different, but Twilla County currently has like 29 chapters. The ordinance is hundreds of pages long. So when we start looking at these cities, it takes a long time to go through and see if we can find something that's comparable to us. I haven't found any yet that I just love. We are a little bit unique in going through 3 or 4 different cities in southern Utah. I haven't found anyone who has an RR5 zone anywhere in their ordinance, in their land use. It's not something that really exists. I think it's pretty important for us to keep some of that type of zoning in Erda. So we probably won't find anyone that's perfect. We'll probably wind up blending some to make this work. And we'll be making a lot of changes once we adopt something.
No, I agree. A lot of things to look at, a lot of changes to make. It's gonna be a hard and big job.
It's been very time consuming. Like I say, when you start pulling up and going through chapters, and there's 20 something chapters, and each one of them could be 50 to 100 pages long. It takes a little while to get through and see what's there.
Absolutely.
But we're working on it. That's what I'm going to play with this weekend.
Good. Okay, thank you. Do it for that one. Okay. On to D, Articles of Incorporation. That's Cale Martin and Jess Bird. I will admit that Cale has done the most of the work here. And he's young and has lots of time.
Lots of energy. Yeah.
Energy. So I'll let you lead off on this one if that's okay.
Yeah, so part of this, one of the biggest things we need to focus on is sending in this, I guess the lieutenant governor is also something on this, or lieutenant governor falls into this category, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Okay, so we have to send in a map as well as a retirement letter to the lieutenant governor and an entity plat with the map. So we've been working on that. We've hit some roadblocks with the civil engineers, trying to find somebody who can make some modifications that needed to be done with our boundaries. The roadblocks being through price and time, it taking a long time. We have deadlines to meet. So I've talked with quite a few engineers, got prices. The one that I like the most is Bruce Parker. He's he runs a company he's a planning expert. He has a company with civil engineers within it. He is actually a past witness. Janet Conway actually found this guy. He has offered to do our map for around $1,000. And then if it did go over $1,000, Erda CA has offered to cover the rest of the expenses. He can finish this map. He can start it tomorrow and possibly finish this map tomorrow. Other engineers are weeks out and they're going to cost about $4,500. So there's a major difference between this guy and other civil engineers that have offered to do the job.
Our due date for this is December 16th.
Yep.
It looks like we're gonna miss that date. Unless the county comes, unless we get an engineer that pulls a miracle and then the county follows up with another miracle. The county has told us that it often takes 2 to 3 months to go back and forth on boundaries. So we're asking them to just, we're trying to get it to them as quickly as possible so we can get it back as quickly as possible. We're gonna try to get that December 16th date. But it doesn't look likely. And so we've been in, Cale's been in contact with the Lieutenant Governor's office, and we're gonna, it sounds like they're willing to work with us a little bit on that.
Yes, the Lieutenant Governor's office, the lady over the incorporation process is contacting the county. And it seems like they're gonna be pretty lenient with us. If we don't make the deadline through laws, substantial compliance, we should be able to get some leniency with that date. And considering we're doing all the steps, it should go pretty smooth.
Parker need the money up front then, is that what?
Yes, yeah, well, not upfront. He's gonna do it, as long as it's okay with you guys. I know there's been some discussion.
It sounds like this is
About
gonna be an
covering
out-of-pocket
costs.
sort of thing. I've offered to pay half of whatever the engineer charges.
I'll cover some as well.
I can't.
I've asked Councilman Smith if he'd be willing to.
Yeah.
What's important to me is not what comes out of pocket, but that we're all in agreement to move forward so that when it comes time, if we finally do get the football across the end zone, that we will actually get reimbursed for this.
Yeah. Sooner it gets to the county too, the more likelihood we will reach the deadline. Yeah. So
So I have a little more on that. So just because I was speaking with the council for the League of Cities and Towns, I asked him this question because we have this problem. And so he looked into it. He said, there's no stipulation for allowance. If you don't make the deadline, there's no stipulation on what to do. There's no penalty. It's just an unknown, just an unknown thing. He recommended that we get with, and we've had trouble with the Lieutenant Governor's office answering the phone,
yeah.
but I'm glad
answering
you got
emails and
a
calls.
hold of them.
Yes.
So his recommendation was to get with them and have them tell us what they're willing to do, which is just exactly what, the only thing I can add here is he said we ought to get a hold of the guy, what was that guy that left the Lieutenant Governor's office and went to the League of Cities and Towns that was actually running, do you remember his name? Lee, that's it. That's him. He said if we can get a hold of him, and he thought he would try and find a number and send it to me, but I haven't seen it yet, that he could help us too.
Yes.
So he was with the League of Cities and Towns.
He still is.
He is. What's that?
He's still with the League of Cities and Towns.
I'm sorry, yeah.
Okay.
He was with the Lieutenant Governor's office when Erda was first talking about this, and now he's with the League of Cities and Towns. And so he can see both sides of the fence here, probably. So as soon as I get that phone number from him, does anybody have it?
I have his phone number.
Do you?
Yes.
Good.
I'll give it to you.
Give it to Cale, so Cale can call him.
I'll give it to both of you.
Okay.
There we go.
And he might be able to add a little bit to that too.
Okay.
Or we can get a little more leverage to be lenient on us.
Yeah, no, that's exactly. This is a big process, and us not having the money right now has caused some problems, because you've got guys saying, oh yeah, we can get it done now, but it's going to cost $6,000 for a simple modification to our map. So, we've had to really look around and make a lot of phone calls, and I think we should be able to get this done. It's just going to be through contacting the Lieutenant Governor and cities and towns, and
That's encouraging.
And
Yeah.
we should possibly have something to show tomorrow.
Yes, yep,
Possibly.
possibly he's gonna start on it and possibly finish it, more than likely finish it. So,
Impressive.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the map. We've got the retirement letter.
yes, the retirement letter shouldn't take much time at all. I've got all the documentation sent to them, but I've not heard back from them since. So I'm gonna contact them in the next few days and say, where's our letter? And that should get to us way sooner than the map. So I'm gonna get a hold of them and make sure that comes as well before the deadline.
Is there anything else we're missing?
I think that's it.
All right. All right, safe to move on?
Sure.
One question, just clarification. I heard two deadlines, December 15th or 16th. Did you want me to put in
16th.
16th? Sorry.
Item E, IT. This is Martin and Bird, and probably mostly Bird, so.
Yes.
Email has been working great. We've been getting lots of emails from the community, which is also great. I just wanted to, well, we haven't started, I haven't started on the website. We're gonna be working on an RFP for that. And to be honest with you, website is kind of low on our to-do list. It does need to happen. I figure as long as we're meeting the requirements of the law, posting our links and doing our recordings, we should be pretty safe as far as that goes. Now, this is mostly internal to the city here, but we're all together. So I just want to say that, so with Google Cloud, you get all sorts of services. Our meeting tonight is running on Google Meet. We're still in trial mode for this. We're gonna have to start paying for that in a couple of weeks. It's gonna be approximately $20 per user per email address. It's more than just email. It's Google Drive. It's Google Meet. It's the license that we're using right now to be able to stream this meeting. And it's a whole host of other things. One thing I wanted to mention was that we have Google Drive. This is a place where we can store our city documents. It is a place that is searchable for grammar requests. It works a lot like Dropbox. I have started a couple of folders in there. I'm keeping all of our recordings in there, our meeting agendas, our minutes. And so I just wanted you all to know that it's there. If you want to see what I've done there and contribute yourself, when you're in Gmail, you're looking at your city email, there up in the top right-hand corner is a square with a bunch of little squares, and that's called an application switcher. You click on that, and Drive will be one of your options. So you're already logged in, you click that, you click Drive, and now you're in the city's Google Drive system where you can see all these folders that I've created. And I think it's a starting place anyway. Eventually our code will go in there. I've looked at a couple of other cities' codes just to see how they've done it. And one of them, I think it was Duchesne City, was Google Drive document. So you click on their website, you click on their code, and you get all the chapters. It's a searchable document. I thought it worked pretty well. It's very easy to change a Google Drive document where it might not be so easy to go in and edit a website. And we know that code has to change from time to time.
So is this a situation where everybody that was maybe interested in what's the code on a particular subject could just go to it and pull it up?
Yeah, they'll go to our website, click the link, and I'm proposing that maybe we use this as they go to the Google Drive document and something like a Word document pulls up
They can't make,
chapters and it's searchable.
they can't make change, they can't edit it.
No, it'll be read-only. And of course, it will only change with council approval inside of our business meetings, so. Of course, we'll have to all vote on that and everything. I'm just saying that's what I saw another city do.
Do you see any reason why that wouldn't work for us?
Oh, I think it worked great. I mean, the system's there. We're paying for it. Maybe we
You
let
said
it
$20 a user
per month.
a month. So how many
So at
users?
7 users, assuming we eventually get 2 employees,
Okay.
that'll be 140 a month.
So,
Councilman Smith, I was curious, being on the county's zoning and planning commission, do you have a county email address?
I do.
You do. So that's something maybe when we're feeling rich one day we can talk about, but getting email accounts for these people. The reason you've got to pay the $18 or $20 a month is for the Google Vault and Grandma search capabilities. And you can go out and get a Google Workspace account for like, I don't know, $6 or $8, but it doesn't come with what I believe is the security and the searching capabilities that I think we're going to be required to have as a city.
Once we have planning and zoning set up, we'll probably have to do something and have them through their own emails, through city emails, just for grammar requests. I know there's been some grammar requests come for planning and zoning stuff. As a member of planning and zoning, it's really, really easy because all of my communication goes through that government email. And so all I have to do is tell the county attorney, all my communication's right there, and it's done.
Okay. I hate the expense, but I don't see another way around it at this point.
Well, we don't have to deal with it today.
Don't have to deal with it today.
And maybe we get less secure emails for them that don't go through. Well, that doesn't make it as searchable.
And they won't. No, they would be. We could still put them on Erda.gov if we wanted to.
Yeah, and maybe that's what we
I think
do.
that deserves some research.
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions or comments on IT? I think I'm about finished. I guess now would be a great time to thank the county for letting us use this auditorium and their equipment, all for free. It's been very gracious of them. So, okay, moving on, item F, which is the attorney. This is Mr. Drubay and Mr. Minor.
So we have 3 people that have expressed interest so far, and we're hoping to get more. Craig, I think you had somebody that you talked to a partnership that I don't have there.
Oh, I had,
We're only marginally interested.
yeah, I had someone recommend a person, his name is David Church. And when I talked with him, he's retired. He's like, no, I'm hands off. But he did give me 4 different people he would recommend. And one of them happens to be the representation for the League of Cities and Towns.
Yeah. So the one we've talked to the most is Hayes, Godfrey, and Bell. And they are a municipal law firm. That's all that they do. The other one,
Do you know what any other cities that they're representing right now?
I don't have a list of them,
Okay.
but you can't sling a dead cat around northern Utah without hitting the city that they represent. The other one was Scott Shields, local Erda kid that grew up here. And then the other one was Janet Conway. So
They all submitted bids type things, that this is what it's gonna be,
Yeah.
how we charge, but we really haven't really put anything out yet, officially type thing that says here,
Yeah.
here's what we're looking for. So we're still in the process of going through the steps. It's not down to just them. It's like we still need to put the word out so everybody knows that there's available positions, just like the treasurer.
It sounded like Scott Shields wanted to be on retainer. A flat fee to cover us for a year. Law
Monthly
firm,
or all up front?
well, I don't think it's said.
Okay.
I could read it again, but, the
You
others
want
are,
to, you want to share that amount with us?
the others, it was like 45,000 for a year.
For the year, okay.
Yeah, the others are by the hour, and they were both $200 an hour, for just their time.
No caps, no minimums, just straight time.
Yep.
Okay.
But, and if anybody knows of a lawyer we ought to be looking at, we'd like to know that. Me and Terry would like to know that. So those are the three we have to consider right now, which we don't think is enough. We think we ought to be looking at 5 or 6 before we make a decision.
And this is partly my fault, but we haven't been focusing on what exactly we're moving to our business meeting.
Well, that's because I don't think we've had anything
Really,
ready to move
ready to
forward
vote
to the
on.
business meeting yet.
well, we'll just keep progressing on these things, and if we talk one at a time to each other and decide that something is ready to go on the agenda, just let me know and we'll put it on there. Okay, anything else on attorney? Okay. Item G, garbage, which is Martin and Smith.
All right, so we've talked with Twilla County some. They're also getting numbers together. They can't lose money on what they're doing. We know that garbage rates are going up because the garbage rates are going up for everybody in the county already. That's going to happen. They also need to put together a proposal or numbers because they can't charge us less for garbage than they're currently charging for Grantsville and Twilla. So they're putting some of that together. There's some interesting caveats in it. Twilla County owns all of our garbage cans. And if we hire an outside company, that garbage still goes to Twilla County and we will have to pay them. That being said, Kel's lined up a meeting with Ace Disposal for me and him for Tuesday morning. And we're gonna go listen to a proposal from them. They have cans for us that we could lease. So we do have some options moving forward. We're gonna get numbers from the county. We're gonna get numbers from Ace. And hopefully we have that one firmed up and moving forward for next week.
We're looking at county and the ACE and nothing else. Sounds like.
So I've contacted probably 3 more disposal companies and they're either too far away or not interested.
Okay.
So these 2 seem like they're obviously the county's interested and Ace is extremely interested. So
I got that impression last week.
yeah.
Just as a reminder, it's just like Craig said, that regardless, it still all goes to Twilla's disposal.
Yeah.
So either price is going up regardless of whichever one we pick. So.
Yeah, that's where it's gonna be dumped regardless. I guess it comes down to who's gonna give us the best deal and or best price and best service.
Yeah. And that's largely, either way, we will be making a contract with the county to accept our garbage.
Yep.
And it will just be, are we doing it just to accept our garbage or are we going to have them do the collection through the contract that they currently have with Republic and the billing and taking the garbage?
I think there's 6 years left on that contract.
Yes, they have 6 years on their contract, but like I say, they have to figure out what it costs everything and what the dump fee is. And then they can tell us what it really costs, because as much as they would like to make a great deal for us, they cannot lose money, and they can't charge less than they're charging other cities, or it becomes a liability issue for them.
I was writing notes when you started, but did you say that they're planning a across the board rate increase anyway?
Yeah.
The county?
I hope I didn't let any cat out of the bag there, but
I've been told the same thing, going up this spring to 18.
yeah, the price of everything is going up fast right now, so not only will the price of picking up garbage in Erda likely go up, it's going up everywhere else in the county.
So it's not because of us.
It's not just us. Diesel fuel is almost double what it was a little over a year and a half ago. It's the price of business has gone up.
Pretty much everything's gone up, and so
So has anybody at the county
Yeah.
hinted that they would sell those garbage cans that we all have?
it's something that I hinted, but I don't have an answer back yet. It's something that we'll talk about and negotiate with them as an option. I'm open to all options.
And just as, like with the attorney, if anybody knows any waste disposal companies they'd like to recommend, I've contacted a few. There's not very many interested. Please email us. I'm really liking the, public input we've had and emails we've had. It's awesome. So, if anyone knows any waste disposal companies, please email us. It'd be awesome.
Okay, anything else? All right, let's move on to item H, land use and zoning. This is Bird and Smith. I don't have much to say here.
So I have gone and had a map populated of what's reasonably current zoning in Erda currently, and I've emailed everyone a copy of that to start looking at and see what we currently have, and let's make notes of what we would like to see there, because we will have to adopt zoning for our city.
Day one.
I believe day one.
So do I.
I agree.
So do I.
So it's there to look at. I have a couple of hard copies. I'm gonna keep one, give one to Jess, and we can take and mark all over on with markers. And twice I forgot to bring it to you. But tonight it will be in your home.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, well, it sounds to me like sort of the de facto plan here is to kind of adopt what we have and
Well-
hand it over to planning and zoning and let them go to work, sort of thing.
I think so. And it will largely go hand in hand with ordinance adoption, because we will have to have ordinances that match the zoning. Those two we will have to kind of put together. We can't adopt an ordinance that doesn't call for an RR5 zone and have an RR5 zone. We will have to make some of those things match.
So wouldn't the simplest thing be to adopt Willow County's ordinances and zoning the way everything is now,
No,
and then change what we want to change later? That wouldn't be the simplest thing?
I think that would easily be the simplest thing, but I don't know if it's entirely the best thing.
We're gonna be able to go through, but are we gonna be able to go through all of these zoning ordinances and the zoning areas in time?
I've personally looked at a couple of cities. It's not that bad, usually something like 20 pages.
On the zoning part of it, yeah, it could arguably be 20 pages there to,
It would be nice to have an attorney in place to help us before we adopt that, to make sure ducks are.
Oh, they're looking at me, sorry.
I think the simple fact of the matter is these things are gonna take time. I don't think we want to rush things, but we do have a timeline to keep as well, so.
It's something that we want done when the lieutenant governor certifies. We want it done by then. I think it's to everyone's advantage to have it done before we're certified.
I agree.
I can see a lot of pitfalls not having that adopted on day one.
If we fail to have it adopted, we begin a city with no zoning.
No ordinances.
And that's not a good place to be. If we don't have zoning, then there's no baseline. If we don't have our ordinances in place and ordinances on most everything, there's no way of enforcing a problem. There's no way of enforcing zoning if there's not an ordinance there for it, or anything else for that matter. You can't say, well, we'll just address it because there's no ordinance to enforce. So.
Mr. Minor, any comments on that? Okay. Anybody else? All right, moving on. Item I, finance, Minor and Drew Bay.
So, we went to 3 different banks that do this kind of stuff, set up an account for municipalities like ours. And they also have usually a credit line that they'll establish. However, the first thing that they've got to have before they'll even talk to us is an employer identification number. We also had a visit with the 2 of the county commissioners about what the county might be willing to do, because state ordinance allows for them to loan us money or even give us money.
Give us this year's or loan us
Right.
next year.
But it doesn't require them to. So at the next work meeting, which is going to be not this Tuesday, but the next,
14th of December.
they're going to bring it up in their meeting and try and come to some kind of a idea of what they would be willing to do.
I think we'll bring it up in their meeting and they'll discuss it.
Well, yeah, we have to be there, so. So we have those options right now. But we do need to get an employer identification number regardless.
I know the county uses Zions, and the Twila City uses Wells Fargo, and also Mountain America said they would be available for it as well.
Do you guys have any, all these sounds like they come with lines of credit. Do we know anything about interest rate there?
No, and the county will tell us that also. If they're not, if they don't actually give us money that they've collected from our taxes, they'll tell us what they'll loan us money for and how much that will cost. But that's a decision that they have to make.
And there's also some, I don't know, it's tied with the coronavirus stuff, but it was, what is it, the ARPP or something like that?
Yeah, I wrote that down.
The state has that we could request as a city type thing to work down,
Once we're incorporated.
right, as a grant money type thing.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be a loan or nothing, it's actual grant money for
Yeah.
do whatever they have left over from the virus.
And we don't know what that is. We don't know what that amount is. You know, we know it's a lot for the county. But we don't know what it'll be for us.
More zeros than we'll.
Understood.
Yeah. And Terry and I have to come up with a figure for how much money we need. So we're gonna look at the feasibility study, and if you have any input, let us know.
I think feasibility study is the place to start.
Yeah. Yeah, so.
Figure out where we'd be with inflation and rise of costs with everything, and
Would be,
there's a lot that's changed since.
the feasibility would be the base, the small,
base, and then
everything's gonna be higher, so.
and do the math and.
Does anybody know if it's possible to get an EIN before our certification?
So Kai Hoffman thought that it was.
You just go online to the IRS, Quest one or something.
Yeah. And have we decided for sure that we're calling ourselves Erda City? Because that's another thing that they'll need to know.
No, we
Not the city of Erda or
we agreed to call ourselves Erda.
not Erda City? Okay.
Is that what everybody remembers?
I thought the logo had city on it.
It does not.
Start up.
Oh, you're right.
At Erda, Utah.
You're right.
So,
So let it be written.
You okay with that?
On paper, it must be right.
I believe the sponsors, all their paperwork says City of Erda. But I also believe that changing the name from City of Erda to Erda is, it could probably be done with a single ordinance.
Did you
passed
have
by
to
us.
bring that up to that lieutenant governor guy?
I didn't. Once, I do need to bring it up with her, because I'm worried about
Whether that's officially through the change in the paperwork or
Yep.
whatever. That can be
legal
done.
technicalities, if stuff needs to change, if that's what we have to call ourselves, do that.
When you do the paperwork, it says will from here be known as, and if we can insert what we got now as opposed to what was initially submitted, so we can get a yay or nay one way or the other with her, then
Yep, I'll,
Yeah,
take
I
note of that and ask her.
think the safe entity name to use today is City of Erda or the City of Erda. Not Erda City and not Erda. I think paperwork is gonna have to show City of Erda.
Yep, for now.
Okay, we'll probably run that
Legally.
past everybody again, just before we sign up on an account with one of the banks. Just to make sure, because they're not gonna want to change it 3 months down the road.
Right?
That's,
Um, I'm stuck on that EIN number.
I don't think it's gonna be a problem.
just go online or
Will.
to the IRS and request one.
If you don't have any objections, we'll just get one.
I don't have any, that was kind of my point. Let's get moving on that.
I think the IT guy should be there.
That really should fall under IT, because you have to get online to do it.
Yeah.
You have to get online and do everything.
everything, yeah, well, it's all on Jess, so.
Not the left letter cut.
Put it this way, I'm willing to help. I'd like to see it done sooner than later.
It's not a long process.
Should go. Scott said he deposited his first check and get it started.
Yeah, I got a check today.
EIN number, line of credit, county. What else?
Well, there's that, along with that'll be the liability insurance as well that we'll have to.
Work into.
Do we have anything to report on that?
We haven't bailed that far yet.
Okay, anything else on that?
Well, just one, I talked to the person that's like over the finances and the HR in Twila City. And with the bank they use, they have like, I don't know if it's that way with Zion or not, but they have a government person that handles, and goes through all the necessary requirements and stuff like, she gave me that number and that name.
Okay.
I'm assuming that Zion's.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, I've found, at least setting up our emails and everything, I found that it's worth the effort going through and finding the government type contact and working through them because they know everything. Okay, anything else on finance? All right.
I got that. I'll probably send it. I don't know if all of you got, because the Kilda City also sent me like copies of job descriptions for like a recorder and a treasurer and several other deals. And
You send that to me or send it to me? Be great. Okay, moving on, item J, office and meeting places. This is Cale Martin and Jess Bird. We don't have a lot to report, do we?
No, we don't. There's not too many places that can handle the crowd and the attendance that we had last time. I don't know if that big of an attendance is going to be the norm. I hope it is. I hope everyone shows up and is involved in their local government. I've contacted Alpine, and they cannot house us due to the nature of their business. We contacted Excelsior, and they're about $150 plus a meeting, plus the added fees.
Was it 75 an hour?
75 bucks an hour, 2-hour minimum.
So it's gonna be a lot, that'd be a lot of money, more than we can afford for sure. Firehouse, I feel is just gonna be too small if we have the crowd we've had. Somebody brought up, does the airport have anywhere we could meet? So I'm gonna contact them. I don't know.
I can answer that.
No, okay. No
They
hangar?
don't have a.
There's not
no
hangars there?
down
There's hangars, the airport doesn't know.
Oh,
Really? They're privately owned, huh? I wonder if we could, any way we can contact the, most of them are what?
Most of them aren't very small.
Aren't very big, they're pretty small, just personal planes and,
So you can see the low.
okay.
I don't mind coming here.
I think this has been awesome so far, so I think we should look for a place in Erda at some point in the future. I think it would be more appropriate we meet in our city.
Now for the next couple weeks, do we want to just say this will be the play, not worry about upstairs, and just say we'll do this here?
I guess if the county's willing.
Nice.
What about the fire museum?
What?
Fire museum.
Museum, that's a good place to check. I'm gonna write that down.
Will they let us do that?
The Fire Museum over off Highway 112.
Not
I don't know.
officially in Erda, but
I don't know if we gain anything from going there. When we're here, the county's letting us use their technology for free. And it's a reasonably decent place with all the side benefits that we don't have to acquire in the short term.
I think the fire museum would be a good place to contact in case this isn't available. At some point, something happens, county says, now you guys can't come here this week.
I think that's a great
Have a
idea.
couple of backup options as well as here.
So when do we start our GoFundMe page for City Hall?
You're in finance.
Get on that.
Sooner the better.
There's kids driving around Utah State with their Venmo and GoFundMe on their back window. Maybe we ought to start doing that.
All right, anything else on that?
Nope, that's all I've got so far with that.
Sounds like we're here and we'll go ahead and reach out to the Fire Museum and at least have a backup. If we have to use them, we're gonna have to find out some solutions for a camera and it won't be this nice, so. Are we okay meeting down here, or should we be trying to schedule upstairs when we can? That's kind of my job, so.
I don't see that we'd ever not be able to do down here. We'd have conflicts with fights upstairs, but I don't know that this would have an issue.
Honestly, I think down here will work better for us because upstairs, we have to have a county employee there to plug into the technology.
Yeah.
Down here, we can use theirs and not have to have a county employee here. So I think it will be easier and better for us just to say, this is where we'll meet.
I agree. Yep. All right, great. All right, anything else on that? Okay, item K, advertise for city clerk and treasurer. Councilman Minor just handed me some example job descriptions. Looks like for
The city clerk
clerk and recorder.
have about the same population that we have.
So we've authorized the chairperson to to advertise. I don't feel like we have much to advertise until we have a way to pay these people. What are our feelings on that?
We could start date, question mark, question mark, question.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I think that seems reasonable. We ought to hand in also a few names that we probably all know, a few people around that
Voice the nature.
are CPAs or that have extensive experience doing this kind of stuff.
That's for you guys too. If you know anybody, neighbor, whoever, or you guys yourselves, just shoot us an email and get us said so they can give us a resume or a heads up.
Yeah, I know a couple of them to give to you.
First initial, last name at erda.gov, and feel free to send that to me, jbird@erda.gov.
I don't know if it hurts to start advertising now, even though we don't know when someone's gonna start. Because this advertising and hiring process isn't going to be a 1-week process either. It might take a couple months for the lieutenant governor to certify us, but it might take a couple months to get advertisement out, look at candidates and find our people. So I don't know if it would be inappropriate to start to advertise and take, for taking applicants.
Yeah, I've had a few people already show interest in this and send an email to their resume and say, hey, I'm interested in this when you're hiring. I think that's great. The more options, the better.
When you guys get stuff like that, please send it to me. I'll throw it in our Google Drive. And
Awesome.
We'll have a organized place for these resumes.
Okay.
And yeah, I'll start advertising immediately. Where other than Twilla transcript are we gonna?
Facebook. It's a good way to get it out.
What's Facebook?
I don't have it.
I mostly pretend like I
Time to get
don't.
into the social media game.
I mostly pretend that I don't have Facebook.
Yeah.
Okay, we've got the transcript, Facebook. Any other
For
suggestions?
me, that was just reading, chasing a book.
We're past that, Terry.
Probably not in mind.
Trying to think anywhere else we could advertise it. Billboards. Start putting it on billboards.
Not on my budget. Okay, we'll start there then.
Facebook and the transcript.
Okay.
KSL? Oh,
Yep.
yeah. Hey, you could, yeah, KSL is a good spot to advertise. Can you advertise a job on
Are there job
KSL? It's a
listings,
cost.
free job listings on KSL?
I'm pretty sure there
I
is.
think there is. Let's do
It
that.
would be worth looking.
I
Absolutely.
love KSL.
I'm glad I thought of that.
What a great mind.
Okay.
All right.
You guys get any more suggestions, just email them to me and
Okay.
I'll do that. Well, I think what I'll try to do is have you guys help me put together a job description for both. And then we'll maybe vote on that next business meeting. And then I'll go ahead and post those, all the locations we agreed to.
There we go. We had something moved to the business meeting.
All right. Lastly, I've just got a section here for comments from council members. So if anybody wants to get on their soapbox.
I'll jump up on that box.
All right.
We've had, or I think most of us have had a lot of emails over the last couple days. And I'm here to tell you, I appreciate it. Almost every one of them have been well-written and thoughtful and opposing views on a lot of them, but I think they've all been good, and I want anyone who's listening to know that we are listening. And I appreciate the emails coming in with what people are thinking. It's a great way to communicate to us, and we're going through and we're reading them, and we are listening. We may not always vote the way someone in an email wants it to be, but we are going through and looking at them and listening and taking input that way. I appreciate the fact that people have concerns and are willing to voice them, certainly in a productive way. If I were going to ask anything, I would ask, instead of just saying I'm against something, put creative solutions in there for us to look at. The more input we get that way, the better the city's going to run.
I wanted to add on to that a little bit too, because most of the ones I've read also bring up community unity. And I know that's all of our goals, trying to get rid of the past and move on with a new city, and new start. And for me, hopefully we can start getting rid of words like us against them and that, and change it to we and our. This is going to be our city, and we as a community will decide how good it is and how it's going to progress. And we appreciate all the people's input and help going forward, because that's our main goal, getting everybody together again.
Well said.
You know, local government in our country is the most least participated form of government. And that's sad because it affects all of our lives the most. You know, a lot of people can tell you who the president is and who their congressmen are, but they can't tell you who their city council member is. And I've really appreciated the public's participation in us forming our government. So yeah, the emails are very appreciated, and I've read through them, and yeah, I really appreciate it, you guys, and your emails, and nice having that participation.
Yeah. I also appreciate all the emails. We probably had, I don't know, somewhere around 30 or 40. A lot of them are do this, don't do that. And I would just echo what Councilman Smith said. We would love some constructive suggestions, or what you think, maybe some good ideas. Because we're five guys, and
According to
more
one
minds
email,
better.
according to one email, we're 5 guys and a woman, or 4 guys and a woman.
Yeah, we had one like that. We've had a couple of misinformed people. Maybe I'll take a minute and comment on that. One person commented and said that the chairman was authorized to appoint 2 additional city council members, and that's not true. I think what happened is some lines got crossed, and what was voted in last week in regards to that was the chairman, with the consent and approval of the body, basically meaning majority vote between the 5 of us, have the authority to, the chair has the authority to appoint 2 additional planning commission people. So that's just.
Didn't we also modify that a little more so that it says it's not entirely your responsibility?
But yeah, that I can delegate.
Yeah.
that and whatever, but well,
So that might be what she.
basically what it is a single point of authority of appointing this person, but I can't just go appoint, or the chair can't just go and appoint anybody they want.
Right.
It's gonna be a quorum vote between the 5 of them.
Right. That's the way I
And
understand.
that's how it's written. And so that's how it will be carried out. So we'll be watching for that as we set up our planning commission.
Can I say something on emails?
Please do. This is the
So-
time.
This is just for us.
Okay. You're on.
So, do we keep all these emails and just keep a running tally of them, or is there some kind of an archive that we put them in?
With the Google Vault that we have in place, you are free to delete the emails that you've read, and you can do whatever you want.
What do you guys do with them?
They will keep them all.
You're gonna keep them all?
I let my inbox, 120,000 emails in a lot of my inboxes, so I just keep them there. The way I know if I've worked with them or not is if they're red or unread. So if they're light in color, I've dealt with them. If they're bold.
So the latest ones are always gonna be at the top?
Yeah,
right?
by
Well, you can set up folders too, Scott. You can set up it on
No,
folders.
let's not get into it.
No, I'll put that on the email.
I think I was influenced by that.
It's bold if you haven't read it, it's light if you have, and the new ones are always at the top.
Well said.
But you just let them run.
I let him run. Yep. Yeah, I don't.
That's, I've always let mine run, and I can go back a year later, scroll back to where it was and find something if I need to go back and address something.
The way we have it set up is that there's nothing you can do that would interfere with a grammar request in the future. So it's your mailbox, do with it what you want. So we have some policy set up.
You can delete them, but
They'll still be there.
they're still there in the vault.
Okay, well, I'll probably just let them run like you said.
That way you can get to them if you ever want to. You can search on them, and if you think a year down the road, someone commented on this, and you can search on that and bring it up a year later, so. All right, any other comments? Okay, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. Okay, it's been moved and seconded. We adjourn the meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, meeting adjourned.
Oh.
I figured that could be a vice chair's responsibility.
Look at you go delegate.
Uh-huh.
I'll just keep throwing you under. Isn't everything IT online?
Probably referring to me, just joking. No, she probably accidentally.